All right, we're going to look at the second half of the alphabet here with our lowercase minuscule letters in cursive, or lowercase letters. So we're going to look at loopy letters, okay? So remember, these are organized by types of strokes that you're going to make, okay? So we've got our loopy letters. So this first letter we're going to practice is the letter E, and I'm going to bring this in a little closer for you guys so you can see what I am doing. So the letter E. So we're going to start with our downstroke, out, touch the line, loop around, and come back. We practice these with our E's and our L's. Remember, we made E-L, E-L. So we want to make sure that the E's touch the top and bottom of the X line. Remember, this is your X line or your X height. We don't want them to go into the ascender area. If they go into the ascender area, then they become an L, and we don't want them to be L's. We want them to be E's. All right, this next letter is a B. I know it looks a little weird, but it is a B. And we're basically going to use the letter L, and we're going to add that loopy tail at the end, okay? We practice this with our warm-up. So we have a letter L, and we're going to come back up, and we're going to give it a little tail. This would be how you would connect it. You would connect from this piece right here to make your next letter, and then this becomes a B versus an L. All right, so B. Mine always end up very straight. They are not quite as slanted as they used to be. B. All right. Our next letter, so this is an E, this is a B, this is an H. All right, our next letter. Again, notice we have the same beginning stroke, okay, that L shape. So we are going to go up and touch, and this time instead of curving around and giving it a tail, we're going to go repeat the line, and we're going to go back up, and we're going to make and curve down and up. All right, so the L, touch the bottom, go back up and top. L, H. All right. I'm much better if I don't stop and think about it. If I just go shoop, shoop, shoop. That one I didn't quite touch the top of the X height. I want to make sure it's more at the top, okay? H. All right. A K. Now, notice the K and the H are very similar. The K is different because you curve it back around and you tuck it in and then you kick it out. All right? It's almost like an E with an L, okay? So we're going to start off with our L shape. We go back up just like we would for an H, and then we're going to bring it in and touch it, and then we'll go back down. All right? L, like an H, in, K. L, H, tuck it in, K. All right, now there is a variation down here at the bottom which takes out that top loop. So you go up, and then K, or maybe, I don't know, I was never taught how to make this, so I'm just guessing, although it's supposed to be one stroke, so my guess is maybe go like that. I don't know. If that's something that interests you, you can figure out how to make that K, but there is that variation. And then I'm pretty sure this is an alternative to the B, to this B, but to me this could almost be an H with a curve. I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be a B, but it also kind of looks like an H to me with an extra loop. So I don't necessarily like this letter, but it is an alternative, okay? Then we have our L, which is pretty easy now that we've made a B and an H and a K with it. Don't, remember, if you make it too short, it looks like an E, so make it nice and tall, all right? And an F. The F is the L with another L at the bottom, essentially, and a tail. All right, so we have our L, and then you come down, touch the bottom of the descender line, and here it has you go through and up. Mine usually just touch together and go up like this. But you can have it cross and go through. I guess sometimes my cross and go through when I'm in a hurry. And then here's the J. This we did in our warm-up, and I told you, oh, it's a J. And it is. Now, when you make a J, if this is in a word, like maybe the word jump, you would write the whole word, and then you would go back and you would dot the J at the very end. Okay? So J. All right? So those are our loopy letters, and if you really want to try the different variations, you can try those as well. My F's sometimes look like that just because I get in a hurry, and that's what they end up looking like. All right, now we have what they call odd cousins. Okay, the odd cousins are R, S, X, and Z. The reason they're odd cousins is because no other letter really looks like them. They're very unique, so they don't really group with anything else. So our R. The R is not supposed to be an ascender, but they have given it a little bit of that ascender feel by going up above the line. So you go up, trace back down to the X height line, and then you kick it out and you go down. Now, my R's, when I was taught to make an R, and it always drove my teacher nuts, but this is still how I make it. It goes like this. But that's not the way it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be more along the lines of this. Okay? And you can have the loop in it. I think maybe that's how my teacher always wanted us to do it, was with the loop maybe, and I was just never very good at it. But there's a variation there where you do give it a loop there at the top. The S. The S again, it goes up here. I was always taught that it didn't. So this is slightly different than the way I was taught, but you go up and then you come down and you go like that. And I spent a lot of time making S's, and that looks more like this variation down here with the loop. My S's tend to look like this because, well, there's two of them in my first name, and that's how my S's look. I don't always get this loop down here, but yeah, S. Sorry, I cut that one off. X. X, the main shape right here, this sideways looking kind of S-like shape, we did that in our warm-up. So this is getting ready for our X. Okay? Now the X, just like the T, you would write the whole word and then you would come back and you would cross it. Okay? So X, I, J, and T, you go back and you cross your T's, you cross your X's, you dot your I's, you dot your J's. Okay? Now a Z. The Z was really hard earlier today, so I'm going to come in here closer so you can see it. Alright, so this is what you do. You start off and you get kind of this N-like shape. Okay? And then you go in and... Okay? So you have this N-like shape. You go out, and then you go down and zoom. Okay? So, wah, wah, a little out. This one, it goes down kind of at an angle, and then you go up. So they have you going, and then down at an angle, and then up. I was always taught that you go down, out a little bit, and up. So either way would be correct, but that's the Z, okay? And I know that one is hard, all right? So the Z. And so we've got the variation of the S, the R. If you look here, we have rest and star. Or, sorry, this word is rest. Ms. Roque can read, rest and star. And you can see there are different variations here of the R. This one just kind of looks like a combination of print and cursive to me, so I wouldn't practice these ones because we're working on being able to do cursive, okay? So those are the odd cousins. Now we have loop variations, which, I mean, it's a good practice, but for the most part, besides them being more squashed here, like here's an L with no loop. Here's an H with no loop. Here's a K, oops, I gave it a loop, with no loop, okay? A K with no loop. K with no loop. All right, which some of mine and my B with no loop, some of mine look like that anyways. You can practice having different kinds of loops. Like here the loops come back down farther. Here they stop at the X height. Here they have no loops. It doesn't really matter to me, but this is just good practice for writing your letters, all right? Now, we're going to look at our, you can have the underhand stroke or the overhand stroke. Now, underhand is the way that I was always taught. You always started your letters at the bottom and you trace them, dragging the first stroke along the bottom of the X line. Well, I guess you can do overhand as well. I learned something new. And so you can go up and have it more, see how this drags along the bottom, whereas this goes and it kind of goes into the sky sooner. So you can do that. If you're left-handed, this might work a little better for you. So you'd have, you know, an A. And then they've got a Y. Maybe even a Z. They've got an F. Okay. And here we've got the overhand stroke. So then we go up and make the G. Up and make the Y. Up and make the F. All right, so I mean, it really just depends on you and how you would like to do it. It really makes no difference to me. Just be consistent if you want to do the over or the under. Try them both out. I encourage you to try both of them out and then stick with whichever one works better for you. So now we're going to get into the next part that you are going to be turning in on the Google Classroom, which is all the lowercase letters. Yay! So what you're going to be turning in to me is all of your ABCs. Now, here they have with our variations. I'm not worried about the variations, okay? I'm worried about you being able to do it once, all right? Now, we're going to take a look at the Q, because the Q is what really threw some of my kiddos off. All right, let's take a closer look at that Q. Let's see if we can get it. There we go, focused. All right, it's like, what is this? It's got this shape, and then it's like an O and an F, a little F. Like, what is going on here? This, I don't necessarily like this Q. I'm going to show you how I make a Q. All right, so this is how Miss Broque makes a Q. All right, it is very similar to the G, which you still can't see. I'm sorry it zoomed in so much, which again, they have this space, yeah, okay? So G, G, all right, Q, all right? Just like in printing how the P and the Q, the vertical downstroke is on the opposite side to show whether it's a P or a Q. Well, it's the same thing, only this time it's the G and the Q instead of the P and the Q. All right, so that's a Q. All right, so don't worry about this Q. Make this Q. All right, make that Q. So what you're going to turn into me is your most beautiful version of your ABCs, written in lowercase cursive. All right, you have some blank pages that I gave you that have no writing on them, which of course I didn't bring with me. Good thing it's not too far away. All right, you've got these. All right, I want you to take one of them once you've practiced, and I want you to write out your ABCs very neatly so that way you can turn it in the Google Classroom. All right? This is going to be hard for me to explain to you in an email. If you're having a difficult time making the letters, turning these in and rewatching this maybe and looking at how I make the letters is probably going to be your best bet for solutions if you're having a difficult time making a letter. So